Hi guys, for lesson 2 for your 2-point perspective, what we're going to try and do today is you're going to try and draw a tangram in 2-point perspective, okay? So we've got our base and we've got our 7 components at the top. So this is our aim today for what we're going to try and do. So the first thing we're going to do, obviously we're going to be using our pencil and we're going to be using our modified ruler. First thing we need to do is choose 2 vanishing points. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come slightly down from the top of the page. I'm going to select one over here and I'm going to select another over here. Okay, so if you remember from last time, we had our vanishing points in the middle. I've just slightly raised this one here for what we're going to work with. So the first thing we need to do is we need to produce our vertical line. Okay, so try and make it fairly central. Got that there, and we're going to come across from the top. Again, we need to be using our light lines, and the bottom. We're going to go the same on the other way also, okay? So hopefully you're getting used to doing this now and get a lot more competent in drawing a 2-point. Right, so now the main thing we need to do is to give it some depth, okay? So I'm going to come across over here. I'm going to make it fairly wide so it's we can show as many components as possible over here, and I'm going to select the other one over here. Okay, so with this vanishing point and to side like that, and then vanishing point and to the top. Okay, so we've got our sort of area now we're going to be working with. I'm going to rub out the lines that I don't need. The one thing we could do to begin with is we could fine line the shape because we're not going to be taking anything from it, okay? I'm going to leave that for the time being, and we're now going to look at, well actually let's do this, okay? No, the one thing I need to add first. So the first thing we need to do is we need to add a base. So this tangram is going to sit on something, so we need to select a base. So that is just you picking a point on this line. I'm going to select down here and I'm going to go from a vanishing point. In this instance, I only need to go to this line here because I'm only really now focusing on this surface. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to go the other way. Oops. Always seem to do that. Flip it when I don't need to. And I'm going to go this way. Okay. So I've got my base. And I've got the top section. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fine line. So this will hopefully show you the outline of what we're working with. It's going to show you the base of our design. And now is going to be maybe the trickier bit of you actually splitting this up into 7 components. So I'm going to go for a traditional tangram. So if you wanted to modify it so it had some different components in, I'm happy for you to do that because we want you to have your own sort of style on this. But if you want to go through a traditional tangram, this is what I'm going to show you now for how to draw it. So we're just going all over with the fine liner, so we can clearly see the space we're working in. And up at the top. So the tangram itself, it has 7 components. It has 2 larger triangles, 2 smaller ones, a square, a parallelogram, and another triangle. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is very lightly, I'm going to draw a line across the top and I'm going to draw another line from corner to corner here. So I'm effectively putting it into quadrants. I know I've got two large triangles, so that is what these two are going to be. So they're going to stay similar. There's going to be no change there in terms of what I'm going to use. The next thing is I've got a triangle down here, which is going to come across. I've got a triangle here, and then I'm going to sort of manipulate the other shapes. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use the increments on this ruler, and I'm going to come across 1, 2, 3, let's go 4, 1, 2, so let's go here. Let's go get another rule to measure because mine isn't coming up as clear. So let's go 30, okay, and I'm going to go 30 on this side as well. I haven't got the lights on, so that's why it's proving a bit more difficult to see what's going on. So I'm going to draw this up at the top, okay, and connect that together. So that is the first thing I've got. The next thing is I'm going to draw a from this intersection, I'm going to draw a line and connect it to the vanishing point, okay? So this is going to be my parallelogram. And then what I've got is I've got my triangle there, parallelogram, triangle at the base, and my two larger ones. Now, all that I'm missing is my square and my final triangle. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and draw a perpendicular line, which is going to come across here. I'm going to draw in onto this line here. So if I draw across like so, I've got my sort of 7 shapes on there. What I'm going to do now to make it a bit clearer for you, I'm going to draw across with fine liner to show where these lines are. So we've got this one here. Like so. And the one that I missed over here. So I've got the 7 components now on this design. The one that I'm missing is on this side, you're going to be able to see the edges. So you've got the parallelogram, you're going to be able to see where that piece joins, and again here with the triangle. So what you need to do is, I'm just going to do with this pen, I'm going to draw a vertical line now from the top to where it meets the base. So I'm going to bring this line down, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. So that now is your tangram, which you've been drawing in 2-point perspective. What about all the lines that you don't need? And what I want you to do now is to develop your skills that we used last week in the rendering. So remember what we worked on last week, using different tones, using thin and thick lines and on the shapes. And what I'd like you to do on your tangram is then to turn it into something like this. I'd like you to make sure you're using individual colours for the pieces, and you've got your base obviously in a separate colour as well. So think about how you want to render in terms of thick and thin lines. You might want to look at different tones to show where the light's coming, but this is what we're going to be looking for at the end of the lesson, developing our skills in 2-point, enabling us to produce this design. Good luck guys, hope you go well.